Good afternoon, folks, or good morning, I should say. I'll be right with you. Here's Lola and Zarro getting ready to go on a rough board ride. Now, she's really excited. So she's actually been jumping on the plastic rail there. Here's Lola. We are live, by the way. We're in my neighborhood. We're local today. And this is just how I keep them in shape. I've been doing a lot of training with Lola. So therefore, the other dogs haven't been getting their normal routine in. Good girl. See, she wants to go. How cute is that when she howls? Zarro, watch how good he is. Zarro, come on. Come on, good boy. Good boy. Zarro's just waiting for his command. And he comes over and he gets hooked up. And it's just like that. Oh, good girl. He loves doing this. And she loves doing it too. Now, she needs some energy burned up on her. Because she's been a radical girl lately. Okay, guys, come on, hike. I want to start my Fitbit. I always do this, so excuse me for one sec while I do this. Good girl. And this will just give us a mileage reading. Okay, good girl. Hike. So right now, I can't take any questions, obviously, because I'm on the rough board driving. Good girl. And she's actually a little tangled there, and I'll untangle her when we get to the top. She's just so excited to go. Now, she still uses a collar leash and a harness leash, or tether, if you will. And it's probably not really necessary for the collar one. Hi, good girl. But I do it anyway, just to have double security, because some dogs are known, even though she's getting pretty good on the recall, on the off leash. There you go, good girl. Cool. Good girl, good boy. G. Good boy and good girl. So, right now, we're just taking off in the neighborhood. And last time, if you watched me or you saw the rebroadcast of the live show that I did, I had all 4 dogs on here. All 4 of my Huskies. And they do very well together. Again, Lola's the newest. If you're just joining me, Lola's about 2 years old. And she is learning to run the bikes and different apparatuses I use to exercise the dogs. If you're brand new here, I know you're saying, well, why do you do this? Good boy, Zarro. Got a pit stop here for the Z-Man. And of course, his dad's always prepared. We have to be mindful of the neighbors. Good boy, Zarro. This does encourage them to go to the bathroom, which is a great aspect of it. Come on, good boys. Just got a car coming. Got to be mindful of that too. So it's just really easy to clean up after the dogs. But this does encourage them to go to the bathroom, which is a really good health aspect of all this. So keep that in mind. Lola is learning to get her exercise in this way. The reason I'm doing the 2 dogs, come on, is because I like them to get that dynamic going on. Sometimes I like the 4 dogs. Sometimes I prefer the 2 dogs when I'm training. You know, once we're in this for 3 months, 6 months, whatever, we'll almost always 4 dogs. Now, some dogs, even in my dog clan, are actually better matched for each other, better suited. And Lola, because she's so young, is probably going to be a little better with Chase, because he's about the fastest, but Zarro's up there too. Jag is certainly not the fastest, so him I got to pair after one of them tire out. Good girl, Lola. It is a beautiful day here, barely 70 degrees. Still warm for the Huskies, but we can run them in the cooler temperatures like this, using caution and taking our time and not running as we would run in the fall or the winter in colder days. But obviously, they're not going to run that way anyway because they can't. It's just the heat holds them back. They're very inefficient at cooling, as you know, all dogs are, as you probably know. So what I was getting at, people are always saying that just see me for the first time. Well, why do you do that? I do it really for the dog's physical and psychological well-being, health, mainly, because obviously I enjoy doing it because I enjoy I don't know what that was in the road. I enjoy them being happy. They're happy when they're running. The hardest thing about this exercise is just getting them to understand that the wheel is safe to run near. And Lola understood that after I first got her, which is about, at this point, I'm going to say a month ago, 3 weeks to a month. And after about a half a block, she understood, oh, it's okay to run with the wheel. The wheel's not going to hurt me. Oh, good girl, Lola. She's doing a bathroom break. Good girl. See how she stops? This whole vehicle, though it may look heavy, it's actually very lightweight. And as soon as the dog stops, we stop. So it's awesome for them. And if you have any questions about any of this, by all means, please leave them in the comments section and I will get to them accordingly. Obviously, I can't do it when I'm riding. Now, when we stop for water breaks and to take a rest break, I can tend to questions, shout outs, etc. Come on, good boys. Hike. Good girl. Everybody's good boys. I got more boys than girls, and it's always, come on, guys. So there's different sled dog commands we use. But for doing an activity like this, it's not really necessary, but it's a good opportunity to teach them different commands, because when we're out in the field and I'm free ranging them off leash, we run at different farms. Look at her running now. She's doing awesome. She's very confident of herself now next to the wheel. Again, that's the hardest part to teach them. But these sled dog commands come in handy when we're free ranging, because I can say, for instance, haul, which means to the left. I don't want to say it too loud, but come on, good girl, because I don't want to confuse the dogs. But when I give a command, when we're free ranging, when they're off leash, I can kind of tell them what direction we're going to go in. Good boys and good girls. Now I'll do it. Haul. Haul means to the left. Haul. Haul. Haul's good. Good girl. Good boy. Haul. So haul's a left turn, basically. And there's different variations of that. There's a come around turn, which means like a U-turn. There's a haul over if you just want to move them over to the left, whatever. So it's not imperative, because the bike or scooter, what I call the rough board, kind of directs them over that way anyway. But it's nice to for them to know it for our other sports we do, other activities. So if you don't know me, again, the reason I do this, like I said, these are Huskies. Zarro's got some Malamute. He's the dog on my left. He's bigger, a lot bigger than Lola. He's about 75, 80 pounds, and she's roughly 45 to 50. She's about 48. He's got the Malamute in him, providing the largeness, and the Husky providing the blue eyes and some of the speed, etc. So it's a lot of people do that. They have mixed breeds between Huskies and Malamutes. Cool way of doing it. I've had only Huskies, so it was different for me. I've had him for about 9-10 years now, and since he was a puppy. Lola I rescued. Zarro I got from a breeder. He was a puppy, and they need to run. Almost all dogs need to run. In what capacity varies from breed to breed. I'm going to take a left up here, so I'm going to start my command again. Haul. Haul. Good boys and good girls. Haul. See how you can stretch it out? Haul. Good boys. Now, I don't say haul means to the left. I was doing that, obviously, for the audience on my last turn. So Lola's given a lot of energy. So she's running a little sideways, which means she's a little tired. And she's also curious about everything we're passing, all the different smells of the road from the different dogs that are walked through here, etc. She looks over at Zarro, even though she's had much time to get acquainted with him. Wants a key off of him. That's her older brother. And some good dynamics happen here. When she's with all the dogs, they happen. But notice when I have her with the dogs, most of the time we're doing an activity. And that's so they're not so focused on each other, so they learn to work as a team and then acclimate to each other accordingly. Zarro is just a super easygoing dog, so she can be with him all the time, and she's a very because she's young and because of the environment where I got her from, she's got a lot of pent-up energy. So she can get a little get the zoomies, basically, get really just start flying around, getting crazy. And other dogs most dogs understand how to take it, but depending on a dog's disposition and how they're introduced and the hierarchy of the dog pack and all that good stuff goes into it, they can take that aggressive, and they can become aggressive with them, with the dog that's younger, getting a little wild. So Zarro, he'll never snap back or put the dog in its place. My other dogs might put her in her place a little bit, which is okay, but you don't, and she's not confrontational. I've already done my evaluation of her, so it probably wouldn't lead to a big confrontation, but I want her to have a genuinely good experience. So I'm trying to limit it as much as possible, which means acclimating her to them very gradually, and in situations where their mind is on what they're doing, not focused directly on each other, because then they gradually get introduced, as I was saying, and acclimate to each other in a more sure and tested fashion. Good girl, she's picking it up. Concrete is not hot at all today. That's another thing I like to address here. A lot of people say to me, look how good we're going. There we're going. She's outrunning Zarro. About 11.5 miles per hour right now. Good boy. Zarro's getting a little run for his money. Zarro gained a little bit of weight too, so we're working that off of him. He's been getting into Gigi's food. Gigi's our Chinese crested at home. G means to the right. G, good boys and good girls. G, good boys and good girls. See, and we took that turn pretty easily. Now the bike, good girl. If she gets too close to the bike, she's pretty confident of herself right now. So she's testing it a little bit. That's what that white surfboard, that's why I call it the rough board, shape is, or post is, or pole. It's a vinyl PVC pole. It's just real loosely attached. So if they touch it, they'll just ricochet off of it. Ricochet is a little bit abrasive word. They just kind of gently come into contact with it and say, oh, I'm not supposed to be here, and get off of it. It's even if they came in contact with the wheel, nothing's going to hurt them on here. But that's the way I train them. Touching that white board, don't get that close to the vehicle is what I'm trying to teach them. So, and it works very well. I've been doing this for years. Little dog up there, and that's going to fire up Lola. You can see her. Here comes Zarro going down a hill. It's just absolutely perfect running weather for this time of year. The little dog, I see it now. Said a Chihuahua? That's a little bigger. And she knows when we come through here, or he knows when we come through here. Look at Lola. I mean, she is really rolling. So sometimes I even take her out when I first trained her all by herself, and where she can really realize her full potential, because she can unleash her maximum speed that she can run tethered to this. The maximum speed's always going to be higher when they're not tethered to something. So these typically a husky can reach about 30 miles per hour and off leash. When I have them on the tether to one of my vehicles, usually about 15 miles per hour, about half of the 30 miles per hour is about the maximum speed I get from them. And just making sure that little dog didn't get out. I do hear it. Hopefully it's securely in its yard. I'm not really worried about it messing with us. I just don't want it to get out of its yard, of course. Good boys and good girls. Now we're going to do a quick water break. Mileage right now is probably, it's just 1.25 miles. But because our first mile, I do hear that dog. Just making sure it's not out. Good boys and good girls. Ho! Sometimes dogs will get out and they'll just stay in front of their house, kind of guard it. So I always carry a portable water bowl with me. These are phenomenal because they fold up. They can be easily taken with you when you're hiking, biking, doing almost any activity. This is a canteen basically, or a water bottle, if you will. I just put cold water in there. And ho, good girl. I'm gonna let her have first drink there. And then Zarro. Sometimes there's an order depending on if you have, I'm gonna say dominant dogs, how I'll water them. Because showing that you're giving one dog the water first to the other dog, some dogs will take that, oh, wait a minute, that dog's in charge. I gotta win back my seniority here, or their dominance, or their alpha status. So they can be a little aggressive from that, not towards me, but towards the other dog when we get off leash. So when they get in with each other. So sometimes you got to be strategic in how you water them. Again, I'm running a lot of dogs. I'm running 4 dogs, sometimes more. So I have to be cognizant of this. And those of you with 1 or 2 dogs usually don't have to worry too much about that. That's usually hierarchy's already established and everybody is understood. But in my wolf pack, that can change sometimes. So I'm sorry, trying to get in the camera view. Zarro is drinking here and Lola's resting. The dog, I don't hear anymore in the background. Good boys and good girl. So everybody got a nice drink there. I'll go back around one more time. I know I've said this before. What I usually do is go around twice. Water the dogs when we're doing activities like this. Because the first time, they're usually panting to cool themselves, even when it's cooler outside. And therefore, they can't intake all the water they need to properly hydrate. So I give them 1 round, let them rest for a few minutes, and then give them a 2nd round. Plus, then they know to anticipate it, and they don't feel like they have to gulp as much. Always being cognizant of what they call bloat. Bloat is when the dog's stomach can turn upside down in them and can be fatal. And that's not an exact science why that occurs. Some dogs are more prone to it than others. And it something to do with their intake of water, air, breathing, and food. Never feed an hour, at least an hour before or an hour after is when you want to feed them if you're going to after exercise or before. I never do it before. So I always feed them just once a day, which has worked out really well for me. And it's usually late at night in case sometimes we'll, 8 o'clock at night, might say, you know what? They're all wound up. Let's go for a quick run. Beautiful evening, whatever. So a lot of times I'll feed them dinner at 11 o'clock at night, even midnight. And they do really well with that. Making it through the night, not a bathroom issue or anything. So that's usually how I do it. Some dogs, Princess had always been around 5, 6 o'clock to get her food, but I would restrain her if I knew I was going to run that night. Of course, she couldn't get it, and she was a little hard to restrain. Princess was the boss, the alpha. Lola, again, is my newest husky. She's 2 years old. She is all husky. She's got a similar build to Chase. She doesn't quite lope. He lopes like a wolf. But she actually is about his weight and slender like him and very energetic and agile. Zarro, on the other hand, is bulky from that Malamute in him, and Jag has that typical husky stature. He's short for a husky, but he's got that thick husky stature, not quite as a Malamute like Zarro. Again, Zarro's Malamute and husky. So I can, for a minute, peruse, let me see if I got my phone with me, I do, and see if we've got any comments, if there's anything I can say to answer anybody's questions, shout outs, etc. So I'll just take a quick look here and see. Is my phone blowing up? Excuse me. This is broadcast over a multitude of my husky pages, and so I never know where sometimes comments come in. It's not like Facebook puts them all together for you. You have to go to each page. So that's why this is a little slower in process. Hey, Holly Ratliff, if I'm saying that right. If I'm not, excuse me. She says, what a good way for you to get started on doing this for your Siberian Husky. Mine is 7.5 weeks old. Yes, sometimes now, running, you're almost always safe. Of course, always consult with your vet when they're young. But even as a puppy, 7.5 weeks is obviously too young for something like this. But a couple months, 3 months or so, 4 months or so, they can start learning about running with a vehicle like this. You never want them to pull when they're puppies because you can actually stunt their growth. What I mean by that is they have growth plates, and if the growth plates aren't touching, that usually means they're still growing, and that can stunt their growth if you put too much pressure on those growth plates and do that by pulling. So this, they don't have to pull. This is a perfect kind of setup for them. So under your vet's approval, of course, doing an activity like this is a good way to get their energy out once they get a few months under their belt. Probably, I'd say 4 to 6 months. Again, check with your vet. I do it with my guys usually around 4 to 6 months, and I've had really good success. The other thing is with the growth plates, they can actually take an x-ray, your veterinarian can, and tell you if the dog's done growing or not, which, you know, some people might want to get them into pooling early or whatever. My guys, again, don't really pool so much. It's more of the run with the vehicle. I've taught them to pull, not Lola, but I've taught all my other dogs to pull. And I actually have something called a Seiko cart, which is designed to teach lead sled dogs. It teaches them how to be in a harness, how to pull, and it teaches them sled dog commands like I was talking about earlier. So that's a really good option for people. It's no people power. You can't really, you're sitting down in it. You can be on the back and kick pedal a little, but there's no real bike pedals. There's no motor or nothing. It's kind of cool though. I've done it for many, many years. Let me give them a quick another chance for some more water. The Seiko card is not really available much anymore. Hi, good girl. She's getting a little more water. Good girl. Zarro's gonna get a little more. Good boy. I understand. I used to actually sell this. I've been really into what I do with these dogs, and it's created such a change in the dogs that I've had, being able to exercise them with the different outlets and activities that I've come to learn about and come to do. Good boy, Zarro. So what I do is I actually used to sell a lot of this equipment because I was so excited to let other people get access to it, because it's hard to find a lot of this stuff because it's not really big. I mean, not many people do this, and it's so easy to do. Even you don't have to be a guy that devotes his whole life to it. You could be someone that just has a bike, get these special attachments and take your dog for a bike ride. And it doesn't have to be a husky. Almost any dog would appreciate a ride once they understand it. I used to take my Chinese Crested, and sometimes still do, Gigi. And even we had another Chinese Crested before that on the bike. I taught her to run it. She needs a little bit different of an attachment to make sure she doesn't meander into the wheels. But they sell it, and I have information on that. I don't sell it. A lot of this stuff you can get on Amazon now. A lot of this equipment, though, has been custom built for me or modified. Come on, guys. Hike. Oh, yeah, I'm good. Sorry, I wanted to get one more picture here. I do this for my vlog. Excuse me for one sec. Ho, guys. And if you haven't already, go to my YouTube channel, Wolf Driver. You'll see my whole vlog. It's my daily activities. And right now we're at 1.26 miles. Right now we're at 1.26 miles with Zarro, and Lola. And I'm just circling around the RuFF board. Right now so I have a vlog on YouTube on my Wolf Driver channel. And you can see my daily activities, almost everything to do with dogs, of course. Come on, guys, hike. And that was a little longer of a rest than we needed, because, again, we only have about 1.25 miles in. But it's still good. Zarro is doing awesome. Like I said, he could use the exercise, because we've been a little quiet. I really haven't been in free ranging as much, because Lola's so close, and I don't want to give her full access to free ranging yet until we're 100% sure that she's got the recall down. She's pretty close though, so I'm like just trying to bide my time with her, and the boys haven't had access to it as much. We've been doing more with the dog powered go-kart and activities like this, again, to acclimate them before they're totally off leash with each other. Zarro and her are fine at this point. Even Chase is pretty much acclimated. Still, Jag's got a little more learning and understanding to establish their pecking order, and their understanding where they are with each other. So any questions about it? A lot of people put dogs together way too soon. I know some dogs, like Zarro, I already know his disposition, and I learned hers, so I understand what my limitations are there, which aren't many. But my other dogs have limitations. They'll all listen to me, but we try to get them to cooperate with each other and function. Look at Lola trying to catch a fly, or a dragonfly, whatever that was. There goes that little dog we're passing by again. We try to get them to work together, to be together, and to live together. Sometimes with Princess, she wasn't always with her boys because she was a little more dominant, put it that way. So she listened to me, but I mean, we even had some confrontations out in the field, and you might have even seen them on the live broadcast. Because again, this is live, anything can happen. And part of the reason I do this is to show people how to properly train Huskies. Always, you know, consult with a trainer, but at least when you hear my episodes and adventures, you'll have an idea of what qualities to look for in a trainer, what questions to maybe ask, and how you might want your stuff to be. Coming fast at me, sorry. How you want your dog to respond. There's really not many commands they need to know. I mean, people look at dog training, especially with Huskies, and say, gosh, you can never teach them all that. It's really only a handful of commands they need to know. I mean, you need to teach them. Recall is one of the most important, followed by NO, which if you teach them that, if they do an unwanted behavior, you just say NO, and if they understand it and you've trained them correctly, they'll stop doing almost anything you want them to stop doing. So, I mean, and even on the recall, if they wouldn't come to you and you said NO, they should be, good boy, Zarro. He's doing a empty stop. Good boy, Zarro. A little busier here, so I'm going to just try to be a little quicker. Good boy, Zarro. Good boy. So sled dogs will actually go to the bathroom as they run. And Jag will do that of mine, but most of the others have learned that Dad will stop for them. It's being a little difficult. The bag here. Tying it up. Being a friendly neighbor. Okay, good boys and good girls. Okay, hike. Boy, good girl. So, as I was saying, if a dog understands no and you're teaching them the recall command and they don't come to you and you say I know and they understand it, well, that's where no comes in handy there too. So come on, good girl. That's, again, one of your most important commands. Obviously, a dog even needs to understand how, when you want them to be free or release them. Good boy. See, Zarro burned up some of his energy. Now he's a little bit ahead of the bike, but I got rid of his initial energy surge by doing that first mile. And Lola's backed off a little bit, energized in a matter of no time. We've got a really large hill we're going to climb in a little bit. It's about a 6% grade, which means it's pretty steep. So we go down it and we go up it. Both ways are excellent training for the dogs to learn, especially for Lola. Zarro's done it a million times. So any training questions or anything, I'm open for them. And I can't directly guide you, obviously. I'm not where you are, and I've done dog training, but I'm not doing it at this time, just working with my dogs. But I can maybe push you in the right direction or just give you some insight, but you can hear a lot of that now, what I'm saying. Huskies are not food-motivated dogs. You're not going to be able to have reliable training with food. It can complement your training, and you can use it to start or reinforce your training, but it's not gonna work as a reliable way of being sure your Husky's trained. So if you're calling them to you and it's a choice of your treat or there's a rabbit running across the field, they're probably going to go for the rabbit 99% of the time. So any trainer you meet that tells you, oh, I do food motivated training, not with a Husky. Other breeds maybe, but Husky, no. Come on, good girl. So she's drop back because she wants a scent. See, she's not scared of the scooter at all. I just don't want her to try to go under it. Not that it'll hurt her, but it's just if I take my eye off of it, it can cause a problem. So, and usually they understand that, but sometimes need a little bit of reinforcement in the beginning. Yeah, so food motivated training, I do some of it, but I don't rely on it. I do it again, sometimes to start the training off or to reinforce it. But the bulk of the training has to be done in other ways. By the way, I wear this orange vest. You've seen me in it a million times if you're part of the Wolf Driver following. And I have a special leash attachment system for it. This goes around my legs too. I'm trying to get to it right there. What that does is it kind of harnesses me in, so I could attach a multitude of dogs and not be they're not going to get off of here, and they're not going to overtake me. Good boys, good girls. Come on, guys. They know that if we go to the right, we go towards home, which I'm not going that way now. Come on, good boys, good girl. Good boy, good girl. Come on, Lo. Hey, how you doing? You're walking.
I'm trying.
Have a great day. Thanks. Haul over. Good boys and good girls. Come on, guys. Thank you. Gets us some exercise. Thank you. So some of the neighbors I know, some of them I don't. It's a big neighborhood. And one of the reasons I moved here, quite frankly, is because, good girl, she's a little tired now. Good girl, and I could tell by the way she's holding back some. So one of the reasons I moved here is because I can get a good 5 miles in, 4.5 to 5 miles, without repeating myself too much. Because when you start repeating the way you rode, if you ride up and down your street a million times, the dogs smell their scent. They know they've been there, and they're not as excited. But when you go one direction, and even if you have to track back the second time, it's at least a little more engaging to them or motivating to them, because they want to discover new areas. If they say, oh, I've been here before, there's nothing here to chase, there's nothing here to do. That's the way the dog's mind works. Good girl. Okay, guys, come on, hike. Now that was just a quick stop. Let's see if she's ready. Come on. Good girl. She looks ready. See, she's not pacing herself yet. Come on, guys. Even though Zarro's older, he's wiser. He knows how to pace himself. She'll learn that when we start doing more mileage. Now, she has done, I think we did with her a 12 or 14 miler. So she's learning with a lot of rest. But she's getting it down. And she's learning her top speed on the bike because she's getting more comfortable with it, and she's able to open it up sometimes, like you saw when we first started off. Good girl, Lola. Good boy, Zarro. So there are some neighborhood dogs. For the most part, they don't mingle in the street, which is nice, because you never know when you run into other dogs how dogs, especially a dog that's off leash, comes up to them. To a tethered dog, to a dog that's on leash or attached to the bike like this, you don't know how they'll react. They feel a little compromised. Here we go. Got a dog here. Easy, guys. Come on, guys. Come on. Haul over. Okay, so my guys are excited here. Come on, guys. Come on, guys. Come on, guys. Thank you. Come on now. Come on now. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. So she was a little, worried me a little, because she didn't look like she could handle that dog. Come on. And quite frankly, that's an easy behavior to stop. Haul, haul, haul. Now, we might lose you here, folks. The reception gets real shoddy. I apologize. But keep in mind that I broadcast and I keep a copy, so I'll repost this. Good girl. Good girl, though. She's tired now. I'll repost this. Good boy, Zarro. When at some point in the near future on YouTube, and possibly on Facebook. That dog was not as under control as I like to see. So I was trying to make my way through there quickly. We've run into that on the trail if you've been with me and seen it. We've seen really big dogs with people that just can't control them. And what I usually do is send my co-pilot out to help them out, because us coming by with 4 dogs, 2 dogs, it looks like a party. We're on a bike, we're moving quick. They want to chase it. They want to see what the party's all about. But sometimes that can become an aggressive posture too. Okay, come on, good girl. She's getting all tangled up here. And again, that's because, good girl. Come on. Oh, I see the problem. Come on out. Come on out. Come on. Good girl. You're such a good girl. Stay. And again, it's usually they won't tangle once they learn this. Good girl. Because, come on, good girl. Come on. Come on. There you go. Oh. Lola, come on. Come on, good girl. Good girl. What a good girl you are. Stay. Stay. Come on. There we go. Come on. She's looking behind her for that other dog. Nope. Come on, good girl. Now she re-energized that quick. So what I have to do is give her a little energy on the bike, flex a little speed to get her back in the proper position, because otherwise she's trying to get in front. So we come on. Nope. Good girl. There you go. See where she's looking to the left. So I'll go a little quicker. Keep her behind a little. Easy girl. Easy girl. Easy girl. Good girl. Good girl. And she knows all this. Good girl. See, I'm playing with the speed here just to try to get her to find her groove. There she goes. She got her groove there. Look at her go. Good girl. They look back because I ran over the branch there. Look at her. Now she's got Zarro. Good boy, Zarro. He's rolling too. Good boy, Zarro. G. G means to the right. G. Haul, come around. Haul, come around. Haul, come around. Haul, come around. Come around's a U-turn. Haul is to the left. Good boys and good girls. Now we're going to climb that hill, which is more work. Coming down the hill's hard too. They have stoppers on their pads, essentially, and they can wear them out when they're resisting, when they're trying to hold up. So that kind of slows them down. They're working that motion a little bit, going down a hill if you go too fast, which I was trying not to, and going up, they're gripping to climb. So that's why going up and down is good exercise. And to learn the bike, it's awesome. We'll never encounter hills. I shouldn't say never, but we usually don't encounter hills at this kind of grade. There are occasionally them, and it's nice when we can get the opportunity to run them, but usually we're on more level ground. But it's definitely a workout for the dogs and something they need to know to adventure the way I adventure, the way we adventure. Come on, guys. Doing great climbing this hill. Doing great. And Zarro's level or ahead. He's not pulling. Good girl. See, she felt the white pole there. It's real soft. But she felt it. So, oh, I got to move over. It just makes them aware where they're at. So Zarro's a little bit, he's about level. So he's working. She's pulling. She's actually pulling up the hill. And that's what I meant. She was a little tired a couple minutes ago. Rest her for 2 minutes and she's recovered. We're going to take a right into this cul-de-sac here and take a quick break. G means to the right. G, good boys and good girl. Boy, now Zarro's back out in front after he climbed that hill. It's great. So I have a veterinarian scale. I like actually weighing my dogs, just especially if as I become super active with them, as over the years as I have. And I kind of adjust their diet, trying to find the right balance there, where they're getting enough to eat, but they're not getting too much. G. Haul, come around. Haul, come around. Haul, come around. What a day. Haul, come around. Haul, come around. Good boys and good girl. Haul, come around. I got a nice little shaded area I usually stop at right here. Good boys and good girl. Easy. Oh. And we're going to do a quick water break here, folks. If you're just joining us, and hopefully you've got connectivity. I know it was going in and out. I use these collapsible water bowls, which are really, really awesome. They give the the portability aspect of what we do adventuring a whole new meaning. I'm going to water Zarro first. Boy. Easy, good girl. Now, if she starts drinking out of his bowl, he'll yield to her. That's how good he is. He'll give to her. So if he was a more dominant dog and another dog started drinking out of his water bowl, he wouldn't let him there. He would let him know. Might snap at him, might have a confrontation. That's why I usually water them separately. And you'll notice they can't quite reach each other. How I strategically place the water bowl. So I'm going to be able to look and see if we've got any questions or comments. I'm going to do a quick vlog update. And we're at 2.62 miles. Here's Lola and Zarro at 2.62 miles as I take you around the rough board. Here's Lola and Zarro. So I guess you heard that, 2.62 miles, which is good. We'll probably have about 4.5 when we're done. We'll do our normal route. Sometimes I'll run the route in reverse, just start off in reverse, again, just to change it up, give the dog something different. It's cool today. It's really nice. I'm going to do chase and jag after this. Do it, just changing it up a little bit. I've done them all four at one time. You've seen that. I've done that a few times. Lola's the newest dog. That's why I'm talking about current, I'm saying now. She's the newest wolf driver dog. And if you didn't know, I think everyone knows by now, I did lose Princess about about 6 weeks ago. And it was old age related, health related, but old because of her age. It was a cancerous tumor that is, I'm learning, is fairly common in huskies as they get older. It was on her liver, and it was nothing we could do, essentially. So even the week before she showed signs of having it, we were doing our exercises, 3, 4, 5 miles on the bikes, free ranging, etc. So I feel like she lived every moment to the fullest up until it was her time. And I don't think you could ask for more than that. Sorry, I'm going to get in the view here. I was out of the view. I don't think you could ask for more than that. And she taught me a lot. And I loved her dearly, and I miss her dearly. So I do have a new female, Lola, of the Wolf Pack. She's doing great. She is about 2 years old. I did rescue her. I rescued Princess. And, I feel like where there's death, I want to give life. And that's why I'm so glad Lola's a part of the team now. And cool, we've got some comments I might be able to address here. Let me see if I can do that. I'm looking to... So these are broadcast. This is happening live right now if you're watching it live. Through... there's 4 comments here. Good, I might be able to... I know my signal's running low. Let's see if I can get to the comment section. Unfortunately, it won't let me. But people were talking. Someone we were talking about had a 7.5-week-old puppy. Obviously, that's too young to do this. But always check with your vet when you want to get involved with something like this. Usually 4, 5, 6 months is when you can start. You don't want them pulling, but they're not pulling here. Running is usually fine. At least that's what I do. And, of course, verify that with your vet. Zarro taking a nice breather here. Always cool. The concrete today, or blacktop, is cool, very cool. It's a just 70 degrees with a nice breeze blowing. And we're loving life. Probably going to do another 2 miles or so we're a little better than halfway through our run. And then I'm going to put the other boys on here, meaning Chase and Jag. Good girl. Good boy. If you haven't already, definitely check out my vlog. It's really cool. I do a lot of things on there. They're usually short episodes. Sometimes they're under a minute. Sometimes I might run 10 minutes. but it gives you an insight onto my training, my daily life. Some of the other hobbies I have, I'm a nature lover. I've got some fish tanks, from seahorses to stingrays, and sometimes I might dabble. I'm a martial artist, lifelong martial artist. So you might see some of the martial arts philosophies or my training inspirations, etc. So that's always cool too. Get some more water. Hi, good boys and good girls. What you say, Zarro? Like some more? Good boy. Facebook's so cool that we can live broadcast this. And again, I do post these back to Facebook and to the versions that are not interrupted. We're getting broadcast interruptions because some of the areas that I'm going to all the time are limited on cell reception. Hi, good girl. Girl and good boys. Okay, good boys and good girls. Okay, look how she got right up. Come on, guys, hike. Good boys and good girls. Awesome. Great run today. This is just exciting for me because I really like the dogs getting their exercise, especially at Lola's tender age, and new introduction to the sport that I'm doing here and to my other dogs, and learning my area, quite frankly. She came from, I believe, Tennessee. G, good girl, good boy. So she actually used to a little bit warmer of an environment, of a climate. G. Good girls. Had to let that car go. Come on, guys, hike. It always happens. One car going to the one driveway I'm passing by at the time. It's just Murphy's Law. Wolf drivers always running into Murphy's Law. So Lola was already used to summer because where she came from, it was already warm. We're not in the summer yet, but it was a lot warmer there than it is here now, but it will be. See, Zarro's anticipating. Even Lola's starting to, because that's the way home to the right, and I'm not done with them yet. I want them to really air it out, and he's anticipating, so is she, some to go in that direction. That's why I had to say Paul, which means go to the left, instead of they wanted to go to the right, or we're really going straight, but there's no way of saying don't G. So I had to say maybe that doesn't make too much sense. It's Wolf Driver, still early morning here now. Good boys and good girls. This is a nice little incline going down, or descend, I should say. Look at her. She is in rolling mode. Wow. She's doing awesome. Zarro's doing good too. She's keeping up. Good boys and good girls. So we get checkups for the dogs every 6 months because they're considered seniors, at least the 3 males right now. Zarro, Chasing. Come on. I didn't want her sniffing that. That's why I kind of, come on, pulled her along. And my vet always says to me, he's been saying this forever now, he's like, gosh, you can hear their athletic hearts. He said we don't get many dogs here that are as athletic as these guys because I work them so much. Work might be a stretch. I have fun with them so much. They enjoy the work. They're a working breed. So if you have a working breed dog and you're not giving them the proper exercise, they're not flexing or sowing their wild oats, and they become so much more trainable and manageable and happy when they can do some of their instinctual activities or regiments, like running. And there's a million ways to run them. I'm choosing to do it on a scooter or bike like this. But I also do an activity called the Amazing Chase, which goes after their prey drive. It's a chase course where they chase a plastic flag on about 4 acres. Come on, good girl. Good girl. She's learning. She can go to the side too. I like that. Because sometimes they need to bite the shoulder. They need to go on the shoulder because I need to move over to let traffic pass. Sometimes trails are narrow and I need to do that. Even the roadway here, sometimes there's 2 cars, a delivery truck, a car going around it, and they're going around me, and I need to give them as much room as I can. G over. Yeah, I'm all good boys and good girls. I waved to everybody in case you didn't notice. Trying to be the friendly neighbor. So the vlog is really good. Also, I've got a multitude of Facebook pages, and I do that because there's so many interests that I have, almost all to do with the dogs. G over. Good boy. Now we're going through some rough terrain, and this is by design that I ride here. Just want them to get the feeling. Especially Lola. Zarro understands it when we go through everything. Paw. See how it makes a lot of noise. It doesn't get great traction, but it's safe. Easy, ho. Just going to stop for a second. Let them rest. They don't need water. They just had water. 3.17 miles. We're going to now do our final leg home. We might make one more stop. Again, I know you're probably watching the rebroadcast of this. You might have dropped off, and I know we get frustrated waiting for cell signal to come back in, but when I get off of this particular area, this particular road, I'll come back into tune. There's enough signal just to keep me going, but it doesn't allow people to really see enough to stay interested because it's sporadic. It cuts in and out. Come on, guys. Hike. Boys, I'm walking here. Okay, guys, come on, hike. So that's just my phone ringing. Good boys and good girls. Even when you see the sun hitting the pavement here, it's not hot. It's a cool day on tap. I always check that. I know people always ask me, I use Musher Secret if conditions warrant, or Booties. Easy, guys. Good boys. G over. That's a little bit trickier of a spot because there's big rocks there, and Lola, I can't put a dog over in that like I can when it's grass. I can nudge him a little bit to the right. So just letting that truck pass and making sure that he felt comfortable. Boys and good girls. Lola turned around. I don't know if you saw that on camera, but she turned around to try to bite up at the tree. It was cute. Come on, good girl. Oh, nope. Good girl. She's sniffing. She's on a scent. And she was trying to bite at or sniff whatever was on the road. There was nothing much there, but it was probably some scent I couldn't see, a leaf or something that had a marking on it that she could tell. Come on, good girl. Great breeze blowing through here now. Really nice. Zarro's doing so awesome. I mean, he's keeping up with the young girl. Not that he's that old. I mean, he is a senior. He's closing in on 10 years old. But he works. The exercise that we do is one of the greatest things I can do for my dogs. They love it so much from all health aspects, whether it's psychological or physical. Good girl. I've explained over my other broadcast and training about Lola, but I'm crate training her. That with almost all dogs, because they're den dwelling animals anyway. They appreciate the crate just like they would appreciate a den or an area in the wild that they would kind of put themselves in, that they feel safe in. Something that's surrounded on 3 or 4 sides so they couldn't be ambushed, essentially. I mean, that's how they think. And a crate protects them that way. Even sometimes from their own pack mates, from coming up behind them, even if, what I mean by their own family members, other dogs in the household. So crates are really a great sense of security for dogs, as well as keeps them sometimes out of trouble, especially when we're raising them and they're learning about our homes, where we live, what might be off limits, certain things, certain areas, whatever, until they're mature enough that they don't chew on everything and don't mess with everything. Creates a wonderful tool, and by me training her that way and getting her this kind of exercise, she's happy to be in it because she goes to sleep and she feels safe in there. And that's the way I've raised pretty much all the dogs. Haw, haw, haw. Haw is to the left, sled dog command. Haw. Good boys and good girl. I'm used to saying good boys because I got the three males. And good girl because I had Princess and now I've got Lola. So if you look at this in the aspect that it's really nothing more than hey, how you doing? Nothing more than a glorified walk. What's that? It is. Good exercise for them. Thank you. So you can look at this as a glorified dog walk, essentially. I mean, we're moving a little faster than a dog walking pace. I can give you an exact speed here. At least as the Fitbit sees it, I could almost give you an exact speed. No, I can't. Sorry. It's lit up with messages from my phone. But usually a little faster than a walking pace. We do get some higher speeds, but I'm probably not going to walk 4.5 miles with the dogs. So this is the way I can do it. And I'm certainly not going to walk 9 miles because I'm going back to get the other true. So it gives me different ways because I don't have to be as physically engaging myself, especially as I get older. Gives me ways to exercise the dogs that I'm more likely to do versus having to walk them or keep up with their physical requirements or regiments. That's why I first got into biking with the dog, because one of my first Huskies, I realized, whoa, he's just out of control wild. He needs to burn some energy. And I was able to find a device called a Springer, which is an attachment. They sell them on Amazon still today, that can safely, and I use them. That's what they're attached to, the dogs. I've manipulated them different ways to modify them for all my vehicles, but I simply love the Springers because they're big springs. They can absorb the dog pulling. You mount it under your seat if it's on a bicycle, a regular bicycle. Therefore, you're on top of, your weight is on top of the attachment point. Car coming behind me, G over. And therefore they can't pull you over, and it's safe for them because they can feel the spring go into action if they pull too hard or lunge in another direction. Haw, haw, haw. Haws to the left. Haw. Boys and good girls, making our way home now. So we're going downhill a little bit. I can take my hand off and give it a break off the throttle. Springer's a wonderful device. I attached a dog to it when I had my first Husky, and I took it for a mile in my neighborhood, just like we're doing here. And he went on it. He's like, holy cow. He was tired when we were done. He's like, that was fun, Dad. But he went right to sleep. And a good dog's a tired dog. So I started doing that with him. And I'm like, this is cool. It only takes like 15 minutes. And he just goes. And we got into a little training regimen. Next thing you know, he's up to 4 or 5 miles. Be careful what you wish for. He got so many miles in, and I had to start looking for bike trails to take him to, and then I got him a companion because I felt like, wow, if this works for one dog, how cool would it be for him to have a buddy and for me to just wear him out, get him comfortable, have fun, and we could be trail partners. And that's what I did. So I got a second husky, and that's how the team grew. Boys, weather's fantastic. Now, it was a little hotter the other day, and the older dogs, as the dogs age, the heat affects them more and more, naturally, just like exercise affects them more and more. We're just not as mobile, as limber. It's physical sometimes because of age. But the older dogs were a little more affected by the heat, so they weren't pulling as much. But you can see Zarro today is cooler, and he's just all in the game. He's showing this Lola what a big dog does. He's doing awesome. So we'll see how Jag and Chase are. Now, Chase will be out there in front. Jag's always a little guy behind. But you'll get to see him in front. And just like you're getting to see Lola in front now, because her position is usually behind Zarro, as she's only been not even half a dozen times yet on the Dog Power Go-Kart, and even on this with all 4 dogs. But still my lead dogs are Chase and Zarro, just because of their physical fitness, and they like to be out in front, and they function well in that position. And Jag is always a little bit more laxed. Princess was like in between. She wanted to be out in front, but she'd burn up her energy so quick, and her dominant side would take hold, and she'd be trying to get around, and she'd be pulling sideways. She was quite a wild one. The wild tart, I used to call her. The pretty princess. But she was my biggest challenge with huskies, because she was just husky to the end. I mean, she's just, even 6 months before, she was challenging Chase still one of our free ranging adventures. Because typically what happens as dogs get older, the younger dogs challenge them for their alpha or dominant position. And she wanted to show him. He didn't challenge her at all. He knows not to. But she wanted to show him that she's still the big dog. And she picked a fight with him. Just came right up to him and tried to dominate him. And Chase is so good that he wouldn't fight back. So there wasn't much of a confrontation. I wasn't really expecting it. Every day they'll surprise you, but I quickly got a hold of the situation. It was on a live broadcast too. Quite a show. And I'm just like, Princess, you're 15 years old and you're still trying to outflex these guys. Amazing. These young bucks compared to her. Good boy, good girl. Look at Lola. Again, we're going down a hill, which is great because that helps her learn about her higher speeds, top end speeds on the bike. G. Boys and good girls. G's always good. Boys and good girls. So now we're on my street. We're taking our final approach towards the home front. Zarro sees a distraction at the neighbors, but rolls on by. There's a command for that too called on by. That's a sled dog command. I just say, come on guys. But there is an official command, because sled dogs need to be told, especially when you're training them sometimes, let's go, keep going. Don't mind the deer or rabbit to your right or left. Just keep going. That's why the most important dog is the lead dog on a sled dog team, because if he knows the commands, the other dogs aren't going to be able to really stop and control the scene. The lead dog is controlling it. Good boys and good girl. Doing awesome. So Zarro and Lola will have done close to 4.5 miles, and it'll be Chase and Jag's turn, and I'll do a broadcast of that. Just something different. They don't need the training, but they could use the exercise. Huh? Paul means to the left. Good boys and good girls. Good boys and good girls. And we're just approaching the driveway now. Come on. She wanted to go up to the pond. Stay, boys. Stay. I just want to go grab. Stay. Gonna do that. Good boys and good girl. Good boys and good girl. Stay. Put my leash here. Now Lola, again, this is an electronic fence yard. She's not trained on it yet. Sorry, good girl. So I'm gonna just put her on the leash. Come on, good girl. Uh-oh. Can take my other. Stay, Zarro. I want to grab a hat so I. Ho ho. Zarro, stay. Stay. Good boy. Do this in 1 sec, folks. Good boy. And Zarro's fine. He's off leash trained. But I wanted to be able to show you this, how we cool down in the pond. And it's going to require me, stay guys, getting the camera here and putting it on. Okay. Okay, guys. Boys, free? Come on, guys. So I'm going to show you how we get in the pond now, folks. Good boys and good girls. We are cooling down now in the pond. This pond was designed for the dogs. Four and a half miles with Lola and Zarro. Cooling down now at the pond with the goldfish. You know, she can go in. Again, the pond is designed for the dogs' access and enjoyment. Got a little waterfall you can see up there and a stream right there. 4.5 miles. So that was our total for Zarro and Lola. Turn off my watch here, folks. Good girls and good boys. So I found the dogs are really good with the goldfish. They don't try to get them at all. Love it with Zarro. Again, they cool with their pads of their feet. So they emit heat through there. They actually sweat. So that's one of the most effective ways of cooling them down. Look at Lola. Look at her. Good girl, Lola. She almost went swimming. Good girl, Lola. Good boy, Zarro. Woo! Spraying me with the water there. So we have a pool here also that the dogs can swim in. My dogs aren't big swimmers. Chase will swim some, but I'm wondering if we can get Lola to do it. She's enjoying this so much, and she's taken to the water quicker than any of the dogs. Zarro's just out there now chewing on the tall grasses. That she might actually do some swimming. In the when we just opened it, as it we clean it and balance the water. Good girl. Come on, Lo. Come on, Lo. Come on, good girl. Good girl. When she's nice and cool, I'm gonna put her back inside, and I'm gonna get the other two boys. Oh. That's interesting. The fish food piles up there. I didn't notice. Good girl. Just shake, rattle, and roll. I'm falling off the rocks. So it was a great run. I encourage you to tune back in. I'm going to run Chase and Jag next, and it'll be similar but different with the different personalities, and a fun kind of run. Wolf Driver, hope you enjoyed the adventure. Signing off. I'll be right back with you with our next adventure.